Hello everyone, and welcome in this new recording. Today we continue the work that we started in the last session on the curriculum vitae generation from Python. So if you've seen the previous session, you probably remember that. This was the initial CV that I had written for myself in LaTeX, and the updated version now is done directly with Python in ODT format. And the thing that I want to demonstrate today is what we have now available in this one, for instance, and it's this part, the skill section. So I have been working on implementing the rendering elements needed to provide this. And the result that I have, I think, is pretty cool. That's exactly as I expected it to be. So I'm pretty happy with that. And I want to try to explain a little bit how we're doing this and to try to show you how this is working. So let's start with the changes that we have at the source level. So in my CD configuration file, menu YAML here, I have added this settings section, providing different settings on how I want to generate those skill lines mainly. So first entry is to specify the number of columns that I want to use for classifying the skill categories. Then the number of steps, that's indicating how many small boxes I want to see to build the full line of from 0 to 100% skill level. So currently, for instance, I'm using 20 of those boxes. Then we have the padding. Padding is a space that I have before and after left and right padding for the full bar in the column for the skills. So we have 3 columns currently, and for each column, for instance, the bar will go from 0% to 1%, but we have a space on the right and on the left to try to not use the full cell completely. So that's the padding part. And we have also the spacing. Spacing is the little space that we're going to leave between each of those boxes. So to give this kind of incremental display, you see, so we have the space which is here. So maybe it would be easier to show you that in the ODT file. So let's just make sure that the version I have is up to date, which it probably be, and try to open that in LibreOffice. So if we go at the end, now we have those 3 columns, first column, second one, third one, and then for the padding, the left and right padding is the space that we have here from the border of the cell to the start of the first box, and also the same space is used here from the right of the last box to the border, the right border of the cell. So that's the padding, and in between here, that's the spacing. So when you have the number of steps, the padding and the spacing, you can compute what is going to be the size of each of those boxes. And that's what we do programmatically. What else do we have? We also have the start and end color, because yes, we can actually control what is going to be the color of the first box here up to the color of the last box, and we provide some kind of simple linear transition between those 2 colors. So I like this this kind of theme, green going to red, indicating it's more and more intense from my perspective. But maybe if you wanted to avoid any kind of color, you could just use some kind of dark gray or something like that. So we can just give it a try maybe here. How would we do that if we just go in the CV? Let's make a copy of the existing colors. And let's just say instead I would like to have something like, let's go for some kind of gray, dark gray. Let's say 120, and the same. And if I don't want to do any kind of interpolation, we can just use the same color at the start and the end. And there's also this missing color, which is the color that we use for the boxes that are, well, above your current level, the level that you specify for each of those entry, in fact. So this, okay, I'm saying too many things at the same time. Let's focus on the colors. So that's the missing color. It's this light gray. So that's 200, 200, 200. This one. And with this change, if I just close the existing file and I try to close this, please, thank you, and I try to regenerate the content, now we should have this uniform gray color. So yeah, not so bad either. I might make this a little darker because yeah, you don't seem to see it very clearly. So let's just say, let's try 80 instead. Yes, I mean, I prefer the colored version myself, so I'm probably going to stick to that. But anyway, what else what was I saying? Yes, this is a missing element because for each of those entry, I'm also specifying the level that I evaluate myself to be at. And this is also part of what was added in the configuration file. So this was the settings part, and the other large part which was added is this collection of skills. So we have inside the skills entry one entry per category, so you can provide whatever you want as a category. So this is used as a title for all of those well, individual cells actually, because here this is the first row. I can't really select that. Yes, that's the first row. This one here is a second row, and so on. So for each row, I'm going to add those 3 columns, and for each cell, then I'm writing the full category and the sub-elements in this category. In fact, in each cell, I'm writing another table with a single column. I had to do that because otherwise the alignment of the next row was somehow incorrect. I'm not quite sure why. But anyway, so in the documentation, in the configuration file, I'm specifying those different skills with categories, and this is the level that you would assign to a given skill between 0 and 1. So yeah, close to 1 in C++, yeah. And this value is then used to decide if you're going to use the colored version of the boxes, or if you're going to use the missing color to indicate that you have not reached this level yet. Except that I'm not quite sure how I should do... Oops, sorry. I just answer like that? Okay. Oh, I should display it, because currently you see 0.98 is reported as 100% in the end. So if you have 20 boxes like here, it means that if you are above 95, you're going to be in this cell. I mean, it makes sense to color the full box with the color. Yeah, I mean, this could be changed anyway, or you could just specify a different value for your skill levels, I guess. So let's not worry about this too much. So this was for the configuration file, and then in the CV generation itself, we introduce a few additional styles related to skills, and so skills lines, that's for the skill drawing. Yeah, also what I call boxes here. These are not really boxes. This is actually just simple lines with a pretty large stroke. And yeah, we're just going to draw a line from a starting point on the left to the right, and then the next box on the left to the right, and so on. And we do that with a pretty big size. I don't know where I see the size. I guess this is it. That's how you could select it. And I don't quite know what I use as a size by default. Let's just check in the styles. That would be something with a scale line. I think it's at the end anyway. No, that's a table property. Yeah, that's going to be a graphic style. Scale line style def is for the default style, the missing style, where you render this missing color. So the stroke, which is 0.1 centimeter. I'm thinking actually this should be made configurable, so let's try to do that on the fly. So at the end we have all the styles definitions. So this was the first one for the default color, and then we're creating a list of new style for each box actually, because each of them can have a different color. Let me try to monitor the time, okay? And every time you want to use a different color, you have to provide a new style anyway. So I thought, okay, when I'm building all the styles here, I might just as well figure out how many steps I'm going to use. So that's a number of scale steps here and prepare all the styles ahead of time. So I prepared the default one here, and I just had the index here at the end of the name to figure out this is step 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on. And you do the interpolation here between the start color and the end color. Start color is S-col in this case. Yes, and end color is E-col. Missing color is this one, M-col. And I was thinking, yeah, the stroke wedge. So let's say that would be actually the what I could call the height of the box. So, or stroke wedge. Yeah, just use this name as wedge. That would be. Okay, let's just adjust new entry also in my config. And I'm going to provide that in centimeters. So let's say if I wanted to make that a little bit oops, yeah, not too good. A little bit bigger to give it more shape of I don't know if I want to make it bigger or less big. Anyway, currently the value, the hard-coded value is 0.1, right? No, not here. Not here also, here. Yes. So let's try with making this bigger first. Let's make it twice as big. And now we're going to use this value when we build the styles. We call that a switch. So we need to replace this value for the default style. And also we should replace that for each of those indexed styles here. Okay. So with this change, we should now be able to generate twice as big cells or boxes on those lines. Let's also restore the coloring. I don't want to say that, thank you. Okay, and let's see what kind of result we get out of this. Yes, so almost kind of square shapes. So pretty cool, I think. But the point then is you have to select one style and try to stick to it, I guess. So because you could decide to make it this big, or you could, on the opposite, try to make it smaller than what it was. So let's say 0.5. That's in centimeters again, as a reminder. So let's close this and regenerate. Okay, now let's see what we have. Yeah, I don't like it that much when it's smaller. I don't know why. I mean, it's another style. I mean, it could feel a bit different also if we generate a PDF, because you don't have the border lines for the tables and everything. So let's try that. That's a long version for now. Yes, that's another style, but I prefer when I have a slightly bigger stroke wedge. So not for me. Anyway, that's just how we can configure the rendering now. Just going to restore value of maybe 1 was the appropriate value for now. What else should we report? So we talk about the styles, how we generate those styles at the very beginning when we start building the document. And then in the base one with, oh yeah, at some point I added this line because I was trying to generate the styles with a dedicated function here, but it's actually not needed anymore. So we don't really need this and we can revert this change. Let's undo this. And in the CD builder itself, so we have, as usual, the build function where we build everything step by step. And I have introduced this write skills method just after education and before those additional skills and the interest section. So you see we have those two other sections after the main skills. And when we render the main skills, so we use this function here, we just proceed as usual. One thing I've been considering also is this break on skills. Depending on how I'm rendering the document, I guess it depends. For instance, if I have not tried that, but if I try to render the short version, so let's do it. Because depending on where the skills section will start, you might want to just break your page and start this section on the next page. So that's why I added this if section here. So let's see the short version. That's a typical example. For the short version, you have this main skill here, and everything is starting after. So not so good. So you may want to enable the start on the next page in this case. So let's try it. Configuration file, settings, and set this to true. No, not to red. 20 minutes. Okay, I should not make this too long. Let's see. Now, technically, we should have the same kind of rendering, but the main skills section title will be on the next page. Oh, that's... Why are you up there? That's quite unexpected. Oh no, I mean, yes, if I do that and I keep adding, yes, I understand. I'm replacing the table here. And after that, I keep adding stuff, but that's a previous table. So what I need to do is actually to get back the table in case I've replaced that with a new table. So you do everything as usual, but at the end you return what is considered to be your current table, which is not quite what you have here. So let's say this is what I'm going to call the parent table. This is the value that we have currently before we start adding more table in the current cell. And this is what you're going to return at the end of the function. Effectively, this will potentially replace the table that was provided as an argument, or it's going to return exactly the same one. But then you can continue using this table element. Let's try to regenerate again. So education and training, and then you continue with skills on the next page, and then you still have the other skills and interest continuing on this second table. All right. So probably how I'm going to keep it anyway. Do I need to explain anything else? So on the right skills, here we start with adding a row with the line to report the main skills title and the line on the right side. So with the draw line, then we start actually iterating on the skills entry in the configuration, and we figure out how many columns we have, and we start building a single row where we're going to put the full oh, wait a second. Wait. We had a single row and we build a single... That's a cell on the left which is not used, and that's a cell on the right which is going to be used. And in there we build a table. So we have a single row, very large, and we build a table. And in this table we are going to use multiple rows depending on the number of skills categories that we need to render. So quite a few tables, one into the other. So a bit tricky, but nothing really extraordinary here. Then when it comes to write the skills element, then you have here the logic to iterate on each entry in a given category. So these are those elements. You write the name of this entry, which is for instance the MetaTrader name here, and under that you are going to start writing those boxes. So I don't know if I mentioned it already, but what I call boxes here are really just lines. Yes, I mentioned that. And you use the different styles depending on whether this box or small line, if you prefer, should be colored, or if it should use a default color because you don't have the corresponding level yet. And yes, we just keep adding those small lines one after another, and that's it. So yes, I think this is covering the new addition of the skill generation. And we should stop the recording here. I'm still not done yet, so in the next session I think I'm going to try to add support for a footer on the CV, because if you have a look at the previous one, we had this line here, and I think that this is good to have. So the date, at the current date of the generation of the CV. Yeah, your name again reported, and also more importantly maybe the current page number, and I'm probably going to report the current page on the total number of pages if I can do that. So this would be for the next recording, and for this one it's already 26 minutes, so I think it's okay and we should stop here. So thanks for watching, and see you another time. Bye bye.